Three. Oops. Okay, well.
Welcome back to another episode of Real Talk at the Round Table with Coach William Forcum, Coach David Smith, and Coach Jason Madsen. We are happy to be back for another episode. In this episode, we will be talking about those doors that are opened before us and how we can walk through those doors or how we can choose not to walk through those doors. Also about those habits, those good habits that we can build that make all the difference. Come on in here, Jason, and introduce yourself for your part two.
Thank you, Will and David, for having me. My name is Jason Madsen. I'm a financial coach. I coach coaches and I coach people to step out of their career and into their true calling. Habits we're creatures of habit, and being able to step into doors that open and capture those opportunities, super important.
Absolutely. Contrasting the two.
Yeah, ultimately, if people feel stuck in a career that doesn't seem like it's joy fulfilled, it feels like it's soul sucking, they really want to experience life in a different way, and they know what they want to do and wake up and say, I want to do this every single day, they feel trapped. And when they feel trapped by debt, when they feel trapped by obligations, we carve out a strategic plan to be able to get them to where they want to go, because what they are called into is something more powerful than they can imagine.
You know, you mentioned a career that's soul sucking. I was a machine operator for 9 years, and for the majority of that time, I related work with soul sucking. I just, it was like, that's what work is. Then I read over there in Ecclesiastes, Solomon. And I got to looking at my own life and my career, and I was like, I'm not having fun. So that really rings true to me as you are speaking. David, come on in here, man. We want to hear from you about this career.
Yeah, it's key to focusing on habits. It's powerful that you mentioned that you change people's habits, because, and you mentioned it earlier, Will, the atomic habits is a powerful one that changes our habits. And a lot of times working with coaches, as you said, a coach that works with coaches, every coach needs a coach. And it's powerful when we realize that. I mean, we're telling people, hey, you need to hire me because you need a coach. But yet we don't have a coach ourselves. Practice what you preach. If I need a coach, don't you? Now, every successful person has a coach, and every celebrity has at least one coach, because that's what drives them into the success. Now, I know myself, and I know you probably have a coach as well. I have 2 coaches I pay for. It's key and it's powerful when you have a coach, because we don't realize how many habits we have to change and how many habits that coach will help us change. Mm-hmm. So that is powerful.
Yeah. So much clarity and direction can be given by working with a coach. I especially like that part of it. And Jason, I'm still stuck on this. Who has done both? I will say from experience that doing the work hard work within my calling is so fulfilling. It's so joyful. It's so pleasurable. Are there hard moments? Yeah. Are there moments when I want to quit? Absolutely. Am I going to? No, absolutely not. So my question for you is this, Jason. When you meet with a new person and they come to you and they're like, bro, I feel like my soul's being sucked away from me at the day job. What's your next line? Or is it like case dependent?
If somebody were to come to me and say, the work that I do right now is destroying my life, because I've been there, I would say, what would you want to do for work? If I could wave a magic wand, regardless of the income, and you get to wake up every single day and say, I get to do this, what would that be? And then I wait. And I wait to hear what that dream state sounds like. Because there's a dream hidden within all of that turmoil. We go to school, right? This program that we've been trained in our brain. We go to school, we get a job to do what? Retire after 30 years. That doesn't seem like a good life to me. I want to be able to enjoy life now.
Right.
And a little bit about my story. I've been in sales for 15, maybe 18 years. And the most recent stint that I had all this anxiety and depression, and stress, self-doubt. And it was because I wasn't aligned with the calling that I had been called into. It was almost like Jonah being swallowed by the whale. Oh, I'm going to go over here. Nope. Swallow. And then once I finally woke up and said, oh, this is what I get to do every single day, things started to shift. The depression melted away. The anxiety went away. Yeah, there's frustration and stress, but there's a good amount of stress, like the good stress. Enough tension to keep like a rubber band tightened.
Yeah.
And so I say that because when people feel like they have no options, then it feels hopeless. But because my mantra is providing hope for a positive future, let's explore what that looks like, and let's clean up the debt, and let's clean up your situation so that you can step into that calling and do it in a wise, good steward manner.
I want to hear more about your own personal story. I want to hear more about that part of your mind. Like, for me, it was that creative part that was just dead. I just slayed it. I didn't use it. It was atrophied. But then when I stepped into my calling as a coach, I started to realize I needed it, and I got to use it. Like, it was something I got to do. So like I awoke, like my mind woke up, and I got to be like a kid again. Like, started really having fun because I was being creative. I was like, oh, what if I do this? And I was just going to do it. And what if I do this? What if I do this way? What if I do this way after this? What if I do this and then do that and do this and then do that? It's just like all these combinations are coming, and it's like, and I'm like pouring into people, seeing the light bulb moments, and I'm just like, are you seeing this? You see it? And he's like, yeah, I called you to do it. I don't know. Like, yes, it's awesome. So did you have like the similar experience there where like part of your mind was like atrophied and then you stepped in and then it's like woke up?
I don't know if I can say it was very similar. However, there is that slumber state where you're kind of lulled into this dream state of, okay, I've been doing this for a long time. Maybe I just continue doing this. And in that mindset, you can either stay stuck or you can choose to get out. For me, the option wasn't fully there because once I made the decision in my brain and spoke it out loud that I wanted to pursue coaching full time, my coach said, release the timeline. We'll come up with an exit strategy, right? And then we'll figure out what the next steps are. And 3 weeks later, they fired me, right? So I said, okay, what do you need from me? Right? And it was this weight that was lifted off of my shoulders because I knew that God had my back, that he wanted this to happen, that it was in his timing. And I got the severance for the next 8 weeks, which was helpful to kickstart everything.
Sure.
So using that as a gift rather than, oh, now I got to go try to find another job. No. I'm not going to try to find another job. I'm going to step into this. And even though it's going to be hard work, it's transforming lives. It's transforming marriages. It's transforming legacies.
It's transforming you too, right?
It is transforming me. And I can only attribute that to the glory of the Lord because without him, none of this would be possible today.
You know, you said something really interesting. You said about the whale. Like on the other side of the firing, after your full-time coaching, like, thank you so much for sending the whale. Thank you so much for the firing. Like, thank you so much. Thank you. Like, we're thanking him for these seemingly bad things. Because all things work together.
And you know what's really interesting, Will? It was around that time that I started journaling every single day saying what I'm thankful for.
And you know, it's powerful that no matter what the situation that's going on, there's a positive and a negative way to look at things. And whenever you look at the positive, how things just seem to work for the good. You know, if you focus on the negative, it just gets worse and worse. You focus in on the positive, it just gets better and better. It's where's our mind being focused in at the time that produces the results. So I loved, well, I just lost my job. Instead of, crud, what am I going to do now? It's like, cool, that gives me more opportunities. I love that. You know, that was powerful.
Yeah.
So my question is, when you're working with your clients, and I'm having a really tough day, I know you have the testimony to get through this because you literally just told us, but I'm having a tough day, and I lost my car. I got into a car accident, got totaled. I just lost my job. I lost my girlfriend, and my dog ran out on me. How could you help me through that?
Yeah, that sounds like a really interesting country song. So I actually just coached this one person through a very similar situation. And what I told her was, I am are the two most powerful words in the English language. Mm-hmm. Since we are created in the image of our Father, who is the I am, we get to take on that power, claim that power, and change the trajectory based on language that we use. And so I told her, say this out loud, repeat after me, right? Almost like mantras. I said, I am turning my life around. I have self-confidence. I am increasing my self-esteem. I said nothing about the negative stuff that she went through because I'm only focused on the positive.
Mm-hmm.
And I had her write those things down 10 times.
Mm.
And when she was on a quick little mini vacation or staycation, she sent me a Snapchat video through SMS, right? And she showed me the journal entries. I am turning my life around. I am turning my life around. I'm turning my life around. Because she was on probation for work. She's like, I messed up. Okay. We all mess up. And you are loved. You are covered. You are a blessing. And I told her to receive that and use that language to wash it over her and retrain her brain, reframe her thinking to that more positive lens.
I love that. A redirection. I love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Our volition, our free will, our choice, right, is so sacred. Not even he won't to us, and he won't violate it. So going back to your statement, Jason, you said so wonderfully, I am. Two greatest words in the whole. Can transform our lives, change the trajectory. Because who's in the driver's seat? Whether we want to admit it or not, we want to play the victim card and not admit that we're in the driver's seat doesn't mean we're not. We are.
Yeah.
And when we say those two powerful words, I am, and then whatever else comes after it, that's on us. It's on us. What are we going to say? I knew this one guy, and he was going through hell. I mean, just to put it straight, he was going through it. His wife left, his kids left. Of course, they went with the wife. Church left, in-laws left, everybody left. And he was just praising God. Like, that's just what he was doing. And other people started to see him, and they were like, man, if he's going through all that and he's still praising God, simply from obedience. Fast forward, this guy is doing well. And it's not because he picked himself up by his bootstraps. I don't like that. I am loved by my daddy. I am loved. David Smith. Praise God.
Amen.
It's powerful.
You know, the chat has been going good, and usually we don't bring this early, but Mary also says, pressing through the storm. You know, a lot of times when we're focusing in the habits, you know, we're making sure we're saying the right things. Wise people around us are gearing us to focus in on the right things. There's a song that kind of reminds me. If you just keep pressing forward, sometimes you're going to get through the storm before the storm even realized you were there. Another wise person told me that a buffalo will actually run through the storm. If you sit there and wait, the storm's going to come and it's going to go over. It takes a really long time. Or if you try to run from the storm's going to come over. You're catching the tail, but you're running away from it. You actually catch more of it. But if you run through it, you get through it quickly because the storm and you are going opposite directions, and you go through it a lot quicker. So there's key in keeping your mind focused, keeping your direction. And sometimes we can't do it. That's why we need people like Jason that pushes us. Hey, did you see this over here? Keep going. Look at this. Redirecting that mind focus is powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It so is. Yep. I'm reading this book called, I keep talking about it. It's so good. I'm going to keep talking about it. It's called 1,000 Gifts. And like Jason was talking about, journaling those things you're grateful for is so powerful. Well, this book is called 1,000 Gifts, and it's by a lady named Voskamp. Can't remember her first name, but it's Voskamp. Her last name is. She's a housewife, a mother, and she's going through some childhood trauma, talking about that, being super vulnerable, and going through and just naming things that she's grateful for. Well, she talks about Eucharisteo, which is Greek for Thanksgiving. And she says something so profound there. She says there's a bridge or there's a chasm between us and the Father. And to bridge that, we do it through Thanksgiving or Eucharisteo. And even through the hard times, we can bridge that gap. We have the power to. He's given it to us with our free will. We can bridge that gap by saying thank you, whatever it is. And it's bridged and we're made whole and we have connection. I was just doing another podcast last night, another group I'm a part of, and we were talking about connection. We almost live in a connection-less world. We have men and women who just don't know how to achieve connection, and they get used to it. And it's almost like, we just see it on people's faces. They're just like, there's people there. And it's like, instead of, there's people there, let me go connect, kids have it. Part of connection, they've got it. They've got it figured out, don't they? Well, us men and women, it's up to us to do that as well. And in order to achieve connection, let me ask you the question, Jason. In order to achieve connection, what do you need to lean with? What do you need to start out with? Give me whatever you want, bro. Go ahead.
It's almost like you have to die to yourself and serve other people in order to achieve communication, and be so genuinely curious about the other person and what their interests are. Right when I met my now wife 12 years ago, I asked a ton of questions because I just wanted to get to know her. Does she have the same likes as me? What is she interested in? What did she do, in college? What did she study? And I say that because ultimately, we've lost the art of communication with our phones, our devices, being so wrapped up in screens that when you sit and you're fully present with someone and you lock eyes with them and say, I'm here with you in this, whatever mess you're going through, you're not alone. And we're going to come out on the other side of this thing too. That human connection is so desired in today's digital age that I heard this the other day from another coach. She said, we are drowning in information, but starving for knowledge.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah, it is. It's like a superpower to achieve connection. A lot of people don't have that. It's like, what are we going to do with it? To the one who has been given much, much is required. Spider-Man.
Yeah. But the only way to really, truly achieve that connection is to put others before yourself and serve them. I came up with something. One of you was at enrichment. Will was at enrichment, the Ramsey headquarters, for the business conference, the coaching conference. And I said in our breakout, selfishness has an I in the center, but selflessness has 2 E's, so you can focus on everyone else.
I
I
like
that.
that.
Yeah, I like that a lot. It reminds me of a quote. I'm a C.S. Lewis junkie. I like everything he writes. Besides the abolition of man, that was way over my head. You have to it's like the first page. It was like 10 words in the dictionary. I had to look up. Like, I'm not doing it. Maybe one day, when I grow up. Anyway, so C.S. Lewis says something about humility that's awesome. He says, humility is not thinking of yourself less than, it's thinking about yourself less. And in fact, the most humble among us simply forget about ourselves altogether.
Yeah. That's good.
David, I want to know. I want to hear from you, man. I feel like we've been monopolizing this conversation.
Well, that was I'm still amazed. I, 2 E's, everyone else. It kind of reminds me of team. Together, everyone achieves more. And I love 2 E's, everyone. I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to steal that. I'm going to be using that.
Oh shoot! I need to write the book and get a trademark. No.
Well, once you trademark it, I won't use it no more. No.
Royalties. There you go.
But that is powerful, and the thing is a lot of little things like that we think about. When I point at you, generally speaking, when people point, they have 3 fingers pointing back at themselves. People that do that, they actually put all 5 fingers when they point. Then they're, pointing their hand. And it always reminds me of, especially this economy, this day and age, people are getting so themselves. They don't see the people in front of them. They only look at themselves. And a lot of times you have to step back and be like, wait a second, what's going on here? I know when I was changing, I used to be a very, I'm going to say, defensive driver. You cut in front of me, why the heck did you do that? And I'd come around you and get in front of you because I want to go at least this speed. And if you cut me off, I may say a few choice words to you. And then it's, I heard somebody telling me, it's like, you don't know their situation. What if they're in a rush? Give them more, leave for more time, prepare ahead of time. So many people don't do that. And I do. I always show up early. If I'm on time, I'm already late. Then the next time something happened and I'm running a little bit faster. And what are you doing right now? Well, I'm in a rush because of blah, 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 blah. How do you know they weren't? Ouch. Okay. So I don't know the situation. And then it starts calming you down. Then you can actually drive in peace and somebody cuts you off. Oh, no problem. They must be in a rush. Now, some people are just idiots anyhow. But you don't know the situation. Just don't let it steal your peace. They must be in a rush. Change that mind focus from about you to, oh, I don't know the situation. It's okay. I probably would do the same thing. Probably not, but probably. We don't know. So having those little dingers, having those little things, really helps you stay on focus because it keeps you geared one way And that way, when things happen, you're not off throne. You're not offset. Hey, you cut me off. I'm in a rush. Hey, you cut me off. You're slowing me down.
Yeah.
Is it all about you? Speaking of which, this podcast is not all about us. We have
Right.
some great YouTube people in here. And we are at the halfway mark where we welcome your questions. If you have any questions for Jason, for Will, and myself, feel free to ask. We will definitely bring them up. Mary has definitely already been posting a lot of stuff in here. It's been awesome. She's even said wow a couple times. So she's loving the topic. And if I'm correct, Aaron is also here. We have a good amount of people here, so it's a good thing. And I'd also like to mention we have a sponsor for this video, and our sponsor is ExpressVPN. You can look in below for the link. When you use the link below, it's going to give you 30 days free. A VPN is very powerful to have, and you definitely want to have a VPN because it protects you from hackers, from people getting into your system. So check the link below to get 30 days free. It's not a free trial. It's not a free evaluation where you could get your money back. You don't put no money down to nothing. It's completely free for 30 days. So check it out in the link below. Now getting right back into it. You know, those dingers, those one-liners, those things. Hey, squirrel! You know, those things really help us out, right? So how have you used that? Because I know you've already mentioned when you're coaching people, you always keep them focused and change their direction without even saying it, but you just get their focus on something else that matters. How do you use those one-liner dingers to bring their attention forward? We're getting music.
The best way that I do that is through asking questions. Because when I ask a question in a certain way, and the type of words that I use to string that question together gets them to think about their situation differently. Because I'm thinking of 6 different ways that it could go, but I want to hear it from them. And depending on how it lands, they're able to then share their heart, their mind, their thought. And that gives me a little bit more insight into their world.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Jason, we have a question for you.
Let's hear it.
Mary Bibb asks, what's the most difficult part of coaching coaches? Because after all, coaches, we know what to do. So what's the most difficult part about coaching coaches?
Good question, Mary. I think it really depends on how deep they want to go and how vulnerable they want to be. Because if you don't have a challenge where you want a different outcome, if you're not looking for accountability or willing to change, then there's really no need or desire to have that conversation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Coaching is collaborative. You know, we've got to show up as much as our clients show up.
Mary does say thank you, and I think what you said, William, is very powerful. We don't want to be there more than the client, because so many times the coaches, we want them so much. We've been through it. We know what it is to be on the other side, and we want to help our clients get through. And sometimes when you're in the situation, you can't see through, and when they're out, it's like, come on, I know you can do it. I know you can do it. And you want to drive them through. But when you want it more than your client, it doesn't work either, because then they don't have the in. They don't have the oomph.
Yeah.
So we encourage them, and we want them to do more. And so a lot of times, just like you said, Will, we want to have it as much as they want to have it. You know?
Yep.
We definitely got to be there for them, because the other thing is too, on the other side of the spectrum. So I really want to get through this situation, but my coach, they're just there. Do they even listen to me?
Hmm.
You know, you got to have a coach that's there with you, not too far, not too distant either direction, but one that's with you, and when you're ready, is ready to take you there.
Or guide you there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think another difficult thing is, are they coachable? The coach, right?
Yes. Now, speaking
Because,
of which,
yeah,
Mary asks, how do you get them to go deeper?
I would say by probing questions. On a scale of 1 to 10, how vulnerable do you want to be? 1 being not at all, and 10 being I'll pour out my heart. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much can I push you right now to go deeper? May I challenge you on that? May I ask a question? Asking permission to go deeper. Because if they say no, then it's like, all right, well, I'll pivot and go a different direction. But until we get their permission to dive deeper, it's almost like we're assuming they're going to offer information.
Yep. Yeah, and I think that if I can just be super vulnerable here with 2 of my most favorite coaches, whenever I have pulled off of the gas pedal with my prospecting, following up, and just said, you know what, I've got some clients right now, and I'm going to continue to meet with those clients. I have noticed in my psyche that I start to want their transformation more than they do. But whenever I am being honest and doing what I'm supposed to be doing and being faithful in my prospecting, faithful in my following up, faithful in my signing new clients, if you're willing to show up, I'm here. If you're not, I've got somebody ready waiting for coaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's 3 things
So-
that came to mind based on your story, David. I went to Target the other day with my kids, and I forced them to not go through self-checkout for the lunch boxes that they wanted to order or buy, so that we can make that human connection. So we can talk to the cashier and they can get that interaction.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because one thing with me, my pet peeve is those stupid self checkouts. So we're paying high prices for us to do all the work, but they're not giving me a paycheck. I want them to do it, but thing is I like to talk loud, and I talk loud specifically so that when I'm talking to the person in front of me, the person behind me can hear me. When I get up to the cashier and I'm talking to them, the cashier behind me can hear as well as the person behind me can hear. I like to speak to multiple people to see who can I attract. What can I do? I'm here to change lives. Who wants to change? I'm here to push people into greater paths. Like Yoda, all he did, the force is strong with you. It is. All he did was kind of like, you're on the right path, keep going. Didn't really say much to him. He did all the work, he did everything. He just needed that extra push. And
that affirmation.
That's the power, that's the key. We're not the ones doing it. But when you need it, come on, go, move. Sometimes when you're in there, you can't see. Come on, I see it. Come on, keep going.
Mhm.
You know, one of these podcasts, we had somebody that told a story. No, it wasn't a podcast. It was something else. It was brought up in the podcast. Coach was helping this guy out, and everything was going good. And the time of the race, he's going there, and he didn't see his coach. He's like, "Oh, my coach don't believe in me," and he's running. He just goes ahead. About the middle, he starts to give up. He's like, "My coach doesn't care about me. Who cares? Nobody else cares. I don't really care about anything. Why am I even doing this?" All of a sudden, about middle way, his coach was sitting there in the car. "Yeah, yeah, you can do it. You're doing it." That gave him all he needed. He had the rest of energy to go the whole way. You know, the coach positioned himself at the right position to get him through the whole entire thing.
Mm. Mm.
That's the power of being effectively placed.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
so I love Mary. Mary's like me. She's like, I got to stay away from those self checkouts. Uh, people have to stay employed. So she's not staying away from them because of the way I do, but she's still got to stay away from them. I love that. But yeah, I don't do them because, you know, one, I'm not going to do their job. I want them to, you know, job security. I got to give people, you know, reason to work.
Mm.
So I love that, Mary. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, that human connection is so important. We need to achieve it. You know, and it's oftentimes in my own life, again, I'll get super vulnerable, or, you know, super vulnerable. I get vulnerable when I don't want to achieve connection, and I'm associating it with work, and I'm just like, look at a self checkout. That's where I want to go, you know, and I'm just like, It's in those moments. It's almost like that's the door that's being opened, and I'm like, I can tell it. I know it's when I don't want to, and I still do it. That's when somebody gets blessed. A lot of times it's me,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then a lot of times it's somebody else too. Yeah.
It's the act of being vulnerable first and sharing your heart with someone else. And then they get to choose, am I going to invite this in or am I going to reject it? And if I get rejected, or if I personally get rejected, then it's like, okay, I wasn't meant to have a conversation with that person today.
Yeah.
But that's why I like to speak loud. Because if I'm not meant to have a conversation with Will, what if I was meant to have it with Jason? And if I'm speaking loud enough and then he shuts me off and you're like, hey, wait a second, that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I talk to Jason, he's like, okay, I'm done with him. But Will's like, wait a second, that was powerful. I need to listen to that. I can go back and forth between the two of you just because I was speaking loud.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like different volume levels for different contexts. You know, we can use those. I think there's something really powerful about speaking loud enough for the room to hear, you know, especially if you got something to say.
I know
A
one
lot
time
of
I
people
was
just don't have
speaking.
anything to say.
One time I was speaking, it was funny. The mic went out. You know, those things happen. Sound issues happen all the time. Matter of fact, we had some sound issues on this call. But the mic went out. People in the front row, they had no clue the mic went out. People in the back row could hear the mic went out, but they could still hear me. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
It's a good thing, David. It's a good thing. You've been gifted with a loud voice.
Yeah,
Yep.
people said I was good at radio DJ, but yeah, I don't know about that. I definitely like touching people, right? And every coach does. And I know, Jason, you have a knack because you're a coach's coach. You have the knack of seeing the potential inside of them and pulling that out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my question is, do you have a good story of a client that has, had good intentions, good things, but they just didn't have the direction, and you were able to pull that out of them? And I know it's not like, hey, Will, you could be good at this, but it's, hey, Will, what else is inside of you? Getting them to pull it out, asking those open-ended questions. But do you have a client that you were able to do that with them? Putting you on the spot.
Sorry, go ahead.
I said putting you on the spot.
That's okay. The most recent conversation I had with a couple client, beginning of August, came into the session feeling super defeated. Could see it on their faces right across on the Zoom call. And I could sense it, and I'm in my heart, in my mind, I'm like, okay, we got to sit in this for a minute. Like, what's going on? You got to talk to me, right? Before we jump into everything that I had planned for us. Well, it just doesn't feel like we're making any progress. Oh, tell me more. Well, every time we get the statements and this and that, I throw some money here, I throw some money there. And it's like, is all the extra overtime that I'm doing worth it? I said, okay. When was the last time we looked at the numbers? I don't know. It must have been June, mid-June, late June. Oh, okay. So it's been about a month and a half since we've looked at them. Yeah. Well, let's look at them. How does that sound? Okay. And as they were sharing the numbers, I'm updating their sheet and I'm putting in what it was and what it went down to, every line item. So that way I could then go back to them and say, okay, do you want to hear what kind of progress you made? You went from this to this. You went from this to this. You went from this to this, right? And I went through every single item. I think there were 12 or 13 items. And guess how much you've paid off? $5,400.
Wow.
That did not happen by accident. And they were stunned. This couple was stunned. Wait, what? That's how much we've paid off? Yeah. You still feel like you haven't made any progress? And then I said, okay, top line item, credit card, $100. When do you think you can pay that off? And the husband was like, I got it. And he jumped on his phone. He paid it off on the call.
I love it.
I said, you didn't just pay off $5,400 in the last month and a half. You paid off $5,500 and you crossed off that first line item. How good does that feel? And it completely changed the trajectory of that call. They went from feeling defeated to feeling hopeful. And we got really excited because I said, when are you going to knock out the next two? They said, oh, by the next time we get paid, which is 5 days from now, the 26th. Yeah, that's the most recent one.
Well, and that's powerful. And that's how easy it works. And so by you giving that, because you're a Ramsey coach, I'm going to ask you this question. Now, to the average person, they're going to be confused and they'll be like, what the heck is that? I can tell you're a nerd.
Yes.
In the Ramsey world, we have nerds and free spirit. I'm a nerd. I'm a high-class nerd, like I can tell you are. William is a high-class free spirit. That's why in the podcast and things like that, we work so well because we're opposite. And that's what drives for great. Because if you have two nerds, it's going to go crazy. Two free spirits are going to go crazy. You got to have the both. That's why he's the one that generally gets the clients and I'm the technical guy. I'm the nerd. and he's the free spirit, so that's why it works, right?
Yeah.
But
I couldn't do it without you. I couldn't do it without you, bro.
You know, when you told that story, I'm like, that's exactly what I do. I was like, he's a nerd. You have spreadsheets up the wazoo. I have a spreadsheet for every single one of my clients. You know? And I can tell you do too. So, another question for you. In coaching,
One second.
Okay, go
One
for it.
second. I've got something that I've been sitting on. I want to hear your question, bro. But one second. Every human spirit is so beautiful. And there's a lie that's circulating throughout our culture. It's like nobody likes you, nobody wants to be around you. They know you, they see you, they just don't like you. So it's better off if you just don't try to achieve connection. Only show them a part. Don't show them. Don't be vulnerable. Don't, you ever just get to the point where you're scared to look at somebody in the eyes because you're terrified that they're going to see who you really are. And you don't believe that you're loved. You don't believe that you're special. You don't believe that you're valuable. This is what our culture, this is what's circulating through our culture's mind. And what we get to do as coaches is we get to have this transaction. We're relational coaches. I know the word transaction is like a cuss word for us coaches. We don't want to be transactional coaches, but it's a transaction that I've seen that occurs in our sessions. I feel worthless. I feel like I'm spinning my wheels. Go back to Jason's story. I feel invaluable. And then we get to step in and tell them what's true. Mm-hmm. You are valuable. You are not spinning your wheels. You have purpose. There's that transaction. It's a divine transaction that we get to just be used as a vessel in real time. I wanted to drop that in. Go ahead. I want to hear your question, David.
Okay, so my question is, when you go for a change, when you go for a redirection, because especially with coaching our clients, we're constantly changing, we're constantly growing. They're constantly changing, they're constantly growing. Have you ever, through a change, inspired them to change even more faster?
That's a good question, David. Through a change that I did personally, inspired them to change faster.
Yeah, because I mean, after all, we are, they're going to see by our example. And if we're telling them, they got to jump from this spot to this spot, but we've never done it, they can tell. Because we can't talk the talk. But by we're being true and everything, and they see us, they're going to see what's going on in our lives. And if we have a coach as well, we're constantly changing. Because how can we not change if we have a coach? Mm. So in our changes, has that sparked one of your clients to change?
Mm. Yeah, I'm trying to think of very specific examples of certain clients because I got lots of stories. One more of a physical transformation. I sprained my knee, hyperextended my knee in November, around the same time I went full-time in coaching, and it is almost healed. Almost 10 months later, 9-10 months later.
Wow.
And I had a client who tore his Achilles skateboarding over the 4th of July weekend, and they were contemplating surgery and all the other things and recovery and things like that. And I said, well, I got into physical therapy. I started going to the gym, strength conditioning. And it's not like you can just work out your knee. You got to work out all of the other muscles around it. Mm-hmm. And as you work those other muscles, other things start falling into place.
Yeah.
And the same thing goes for your finances.
Yeah.
All of the other things are going to fall into place.
Well, that's powerful. Well, speaking of that, and I wanted that to be the last question, because speaking of that, we're going through a lot of changes here. And so at this point, we like to give 3 announcements, 2 being free and 1 being paid. We have a community for all the coaches out there of any type to come in and join, connect, because there's power in connection. However, the community and everything is changing. We used to have 3 communities. They're all being combined into one to make a very powerful community. So basically, this is going to be a community for everybody to join in, not just coaches, for everybody. Because the power you're going to be able to get, whatever fits for you, it's going to be for. If you're a coach, it's going to have sections for you. If you're a Christian, it's going to have sections for you. If you have the absolute CRM, it's going to have sections for you. You're into networking, you want to improve your business, it's going to have a section for you. It's going to have sections for a lot of different things, and you're going to be able to partake in whatever you have. So before, coaches would have to toggle between the different groups. Now it's going to be an all-in-one group. So it's going to be very powerful. This is all coming the next month. So we're about a week away, and you're going to start seeing a lot of things coming into the community. So if you're in the community, stay tuned, because it's going to be powerful. You're already starting to notice some changes, but come the next month, it's going to be totally different. It's going to be awesome, better. Okay. Second of all, this whole month we've been pushing group coaching. For those coaches out there, we have a group coaching which gets you into the coaching field at a more reasonable way. And it's going to really help you out. But on top of that, coming this next month, we also have a new style of group coaching that's going to help you out. We have a powerful coach that's getting ready to launch something really cool for the other people out there. So we're going to be starting to do that coming next month. But the group way is definitely the way to go. And then we also like to mention something else. Again, with this next month, a lot of changes are happening. So make sure that you are staying within the changes, because we have a lot of promotions that's coming up, and we're really pushing out there. We have these days of. And just to tell you something, the end of next month, there's a special day that 90% of these people out there are going to love. And I just got to tell you guys something. You guys know coffee is life, right? Okay.
I like
so
coffee.
Coffee is life. A yawn is a silent cry for coffee. Do you guys want to hear a joke?
Please.
Decaf. Now, with that being said, National Coffee Day is coming near the end of next month, and it's going to be powerful for what we are going to be doing for those coffee lovers out there. Now, I don't drink coffee. William does. I can tell Jason does as well. But I'm around a lot of coffee drinkers. Okay, so there's going to be something powerful with coffee coming the end of next month. So stay tuned for that. Now, also, finally, we definitely want to make mention. Jason has a couple things to say as well.
Wait, what do I have to say? No.
You are inviting people in. How do they get in contact with you?
Yes.
So
tell us a little bit about yourself, and then how to get a hold of you.
There's a few different ways. You can email me, madsenfinancialcoaching@gmail.com. I'm also on LinkedIn with whatever the whatever at Madsen Financial Coaching. But a little about me, the people that come to me and ask me, hey, what is it that you do? Right? So I use the acronym COACH to describe what I do. People come to me, they're facing a challenge, want a different outcome, looking for accountability. They have to be willing to change. I provide and offer hope that their situation is going to be different. So I guide couples to move from stressed to blessed with their money. Coaches gain the confidence to raise their rates, and professionals step away from their career into their true calling.
And if you
That's
want to
me.
find more about him, his link is in the description below.
That's what I was going to say too. Go
Oh,
ahead.
great minds think alike. Again, we'd like to remind you of our sponsor is ExpressVPN, and the link is below as well. William, did you have any final comments?
Thank you so much, Jason, for being on for your part 2. I'm hungry already for next year's part 3 when I'm sure we'll be doing this again. Your pleasure. Thank you so much for being here. That's it
Thank
for me.
you.
You're welcome.
And thank you so much, guys, and we'll see you the same time, same bat channel, and we'll see you next time.